What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
Spider, are we live?
We are live. We're live.
We're lively being recorded. So I wanted to know that I am doing phenomenally awesome, sir. Thank you for asking. How about yourself? Well, I try to use big words, but sometimes they don't like to work with me. I don't know. Big word. There you go, right there.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Neither did I.
How are you doing, sir? You get an A for effort. I'm doing great. Hey. Oh, if you cannot tell, we are losing our minds. But this is All Things Super. If you're not familiar with the show, every week, even multiple times a week, we take a piece of superpower TV, movie, even trailers. We watch them, we review them, we react to them, we break it down, we talk about them, and we ask the question, is it super?
Is it?
We're going to find that out. But if you like that, you can subscribe to the channel. You can click on the bell to be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, you can find us on all of your major podcast streaming services. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
What?
This episode, pause for dramatic effect. For this episode, we are going to catch up. We have a couple of episodes that we need to catch up on, but we are going to be talking about the latest two episodes. I tongue
so hard, I feel like I'm Hispanic now. I just want to get that out.
Oh, for a drum roll?
Yeah.
But for this episode, we're going to be talking about episode 5 and episode 6 of She-Hulk.
Ocho and Nueve, right?
No, that's 8 and 9. We're talking about Cinco and Seis. So that rolling your tongue and becoming Hispanic didn't transfer over into the language.
I need some super soldiers, Sam. Go ahead.
We're going to be talking about episode 5 and episode 6 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. A great show on Disney Plus from Marvel Studios. But before we get into it, of course, we have to let you know, if you haven't watched it, 3,
you want to continue to watch
1.
this.
There you go.
I think that might be the best one I've done today.
It was good. You had a little like a trombone kind of like
That's a New Orleans
vibrato.
New Orleans. Wait, what? What was that word?
The vibrato.
Are you just showing off?
Am I?
No.
But you've been warned. We're going to talk about full spoilers. We're going to dive deep into the episode. So if you have not seen the episode, and like I said, we're covering 2 episodes, so you should be caught up by this point. But if you have not seen the episodes, we're going to get into full spoilers. So go watch them, come back, listen to that episode. Or if you don't care about spoilers, you can just stick around and just listen to us talk about these 2 episodes.
You might like us, and we like you back. I'm going to get a note and say, do you like me? And with the yes or no.
Circle yes or no.
Put it in the comments.
Just paste it into your webcam. And then they can take a screenshot of the video, and then they can circle yes or no. And then they can attach it. They can tweet at us, attach a photo.
That sounds a lot complicated. Let's get into the show.
Just leave it in the comments. Just leave it in the comments, yes or no. Do you like us? Just say yes, just say no. If you don't like us and you say no in the comments, then you know what? I appreciate you being honest.
Right. Delete.
Delete the comments, all the no's. Just do a control F for no and just delete.
No, I'm just joking. You guys are more than welcome to not like us, but it is curious.
Absolutely.
If you're still watching the show.
You know people hate watch stuff. You see all these reviews about in She-Hulk, Attorney at Law in particular. Every single episode, people post videos. She-Hulk, the ruin of MCU, mid-CU, MCU. Like all of these people have so much bad just shit to say about She-Hulk because it's so awful. It's just they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the plan. They're not going anywhere with the show. Show's stupid.
I feel like I agree with all of these people, and let me tell you why. Because clearly they're watching a different show than I'm watching, so I want to see what I'm missing. I need to see what they're watching because it's clearly not the same show. This is an amazing show, very well written show, knows tone very well. They have the funny where the funny needs to be, and the interesting where it needs to be, and the Easter eggs are scattered all up throughout this whole show. What is there not to like? You've gotten cameo after cameo after cameo after cameo. Meg Thee Stallion was in the MCU now. Let's just go ahead and call it spade a spade. That's a flex. Because if I could get in the MCU, I'll be right there trying on an Iron Man suit or holding the Captain America shield up or a hammer. I'm doing something. I can't. Spider-Man, do a flip. I got you.
And that guy was in 2 MCU movies.
That'll go right on my resume. I was in the MCU.
You have your name, have the film title, Spider-Man Homecoming, cast as do a flip guy.
I would take everything else off my resume.
That'd be the whole thing.
This doesn't qualify me. I don't need to work there.
Include a link to the video with a timestamp. Be like, this is exactly where you can see me.
All you need, because you're known.
Yeah.
Right. Wait. Anyway, She-Hulk's back at it again. Jennifer Walters is back at it again. Somebody, you want to tell them about it this time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Episode 5.
So we're going to talk about episode 5, episode 6. Uno, dos, tres, cinco, seis. Seis? Cinco, seis.
You said
5 and 6.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about episode 5 first. Mean Green and Straightforward into These Jeans, where we left off at the end of episode 4, where Jen was helping out Wong. She was trying to get a groove on. She was going on some dates.
Oh.
She met up with the guy. Assuming that she slept with him, she woke up fixing to do breakfast, and he was just a straight up asshole because Jen reverted back to her normal self. She reverted back to Jen. And he was like, "Who are you?" And she's like, I'm Jennifer. I'm, She-Hulk in human form. He was like, so you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and go, and just straight up left her. And after she made him breakfast, that's just fucking rude,
disrespectful.
And so we end off the episode.
Real fuckboy shit.
Yeah, real fuckboy shit. And so we end off the episode. Jennifer gets served with a court summons because Titania is suing Jennifer Walters because Titania has trademarked the name She-Hulk. And so we start off the episode because now Jennifer has to go to court. She has to go to court as She-Hulk because now her name is being used by Titania. Titania has launched all of these different skincare and beauty products. Yeah, all of these skincare products. She-Hulk by Titania. You got beauty oil, beauty cream, beauty serum, and Jen kind of made the jokes like, aren't all of this the same shit?
Which is weird because her brother comes in with this whole quick scheme to sell the She-Hulk products.
It's like Avon. It's like Avon. Chad was an Avon guy. He was basically just...
X and Jennifer Walters to sign it to make it more valuable, and she's like, "This is not my stuff."
Right.
Nice.
And then so he makes the question known. He was like, "Well, if you're She-Hulk, I mean, it's the rule of trademark law. Like the first person to trademark, they own it. So why didn't you trademark it?" And so she's like, she didn't really respond to him. But I mean, he's right. She didn't trademark the name. She went on record, as they showed in the court case, that she was on camera saying that she's not going to answer the name She-Hulk. She didn't pick the name She-Hulk. It was a name that was given to her. But so our A plot is that Jennifer is dealing with Titania, or She-Hulk is dealing with Titania. And so we see Jennifer go try to approach Titania to get her to stop, just try to get her to see reason. Like, obviously, this is not your name. You don't really have a right to it. I am She-Hulk. And so they end up going to court. And so we see We've already been introduced to Renee Elise Goldberry's character, who is, uh, of course, we know Renee Elise Goldberry from Hamilton, but now she is Mallory Book, who is another attorney at GLK&H. She's a part of the Superhuman Law Division, but so she takes on the case, and so she says, as a professional courtesy, she's going to take on the case, and she's going to represent She-Hulk.
She's good. That's what I said. She is good.
Yeah, she is good. She's very good at what she does. So she takes on the case, and so Jennifer wants to be friends. Mallory doesn't really care. She's like, I don't care. But the thing about it is, I like the way that they framed it in the show is that they're not necessarily enemies. Like Mallory doesn't have anything against Jen, but and it's sort of, again, out of a professional competition. Mallory was a top attorney before She-Hulk came in, and now you have a superpowered being in the law firm, so now you're taking attention away from me as the top attorney. So I don't like you, I don't have anything against you, but professionally I don't like you, I don't really care for you. But she says out of professional courtesy she's going to take that case. So they go to court, they fight it, and the evidence shows that, like we said, Jen has gone on video, She-Hulk has gone on video saying, I'm not going to answer to She-Hulk. She was shown coming out of the courthouse. Reporters are trying to call her She-Hulk. She's like, my name is Jennifer Walters. I'm not going to answer to She-Hulk. There was that news report saying that she didn't choose the name She-Hulk. The name was given to her. So Titania's lawyers are showing this as evidence that she never wanted the name She-Hulk. And so the defense, the defense, which would be Jen and She-Hulk and Mallory, so they meet and they say, do you have anything that showcases you actually accepting the name She-Hulk? So what they do is they use her, I forgot what the name of the dating app was called, but they use her dating profile. Wait, what?
Her harem.
But they use her dating profile as proof that she willingly used the name She-Hulk to go on dates. And so they go through all of the different characters. We had Todd, we had Derek, played by David Otunga, we had Arthur, the guy that she slept with, but all of these people that she's gone on dates with, they came and testified, basically saying that she showed up to the date as She-Hulk, she presented herself as She-Hulk, and the question was posed, had Jennifer presented herself as Jennifer, would you have gone on a date with her? And all of them unanimously was like, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that was,
which is awful.
That's gut wrenching right there, because the actress that plays She-Hulk, Tatiana, amazing talent.
She's a beautiful lady. She's a beautiful lady.
It's hard for me to, disconnect that and just like, come on, man, like really, like I understand because She-Hulk has to be, I guess, a 10, but she's not a 10.
Right.
so it's
I definitely don't understand it. So it's like,
okay, I just wanted to say that.
And I agree with you 100%, because the thing you think about is like, are they threatened by, a woman because she's a higher powered attorney? But the thing about it is, like, She-Hulk is still an attorney. So is it just for the novelty of it because she is a Hulk? They have the stories like, hey, I went on a date with a superhero, because some people think that she's an Avenger.
Right there on my resume.
Right
there on my resume.
Dated an Avenger.
I was in Spider-Man. Dated an Avenger. Dated She-Hulk.
But so they wrap up the court case because the judge finds that because Jennifer actively presented herself as She-Hulk, she willingly took on that name as She-Hulk, then obviously she has a claim to it. She has the powers. She is a Hulk. So the court rules in favor of Jennifer Walters. She has rights to the name She-Hulk. Titania has to cease and desist all of her products. She has to recall all of her products titled She-Hulk.
How crazy is that? Listen. We talked about this before. She-Hulk's a better lawyer, and her whole law firm's a better attorney firm than Daredevil. I said it.
You
We're
keep
not
saying that.
losing over here. She-Hulk's not losing, but it's an interesting way how they play the dynamic because trade partners. I mean, not trade partners. I'm sorry. Trademarks work as in who gets it first is who gets it.
Right.
So
Yeah, like legally, if Titania filled out all the paperwork to trademark the name She-Hulk, technically she's legally bound to
within
the
her
name.
right.
She has that right
Correct.
to it.
But that goes to show you how good these attorneys are to have that overthrown. And She-Hulk wins. I mean, it's the name of the show. We kind of knew where this was going. But I
Right.
appreciate the episode because I like these little episodic shows. We get a little something different than the big sky beam and the plot to take over the world. This is more like
This is very
everyday things
grounded,
happen.
very surface level.
And like I said, when we seen the last episode, when Wong met
Madison.
what's her name? Madison with the I,
No,
but not what you think.
Well, no, Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but it's not where you think.
That just we need more Madison.
I love her as a character. I hated her when she was first introduced, but she quickly grew on me, and she's probably one of my favorite people in that show. Oh God, she was so good.
So that's what I'm saying. How can you hate this show that has something for everyone in the show? This show is amazing. It's one of the listen. We need to do a show right now. Right now, I'm gonna tell you right now. This spoiler warning. We need to do a show where we rank the
Disney Plus shows.
Yes, goddamn right.
I think whenever we can get into a spot where we're not like inundated with multiple shows happening at once, then yeah, I think we can do that. We could rate them and kind of put them on a list and see where they fall.
I'm talking about everywhere from Disney to Disney and everything in between. You guys caught that, right?
So that's our A story. Working with Mallory and Jen to try to fight that court case. But our A story leads into our B story, is because Mallory runs into Jen. She goes into the office, and of course she's in her suit that is not form-fitting, it's not flattering, it's very baggy, but of course it's because she wants to have it, room enough for her to transform into She-Hulk and not
we talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Outfits are just she looks
they're not appealing.
So small and this huge. It's like the clothes are swallowing her. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Jen.
But the thing about it is practically anything times that she has to transform into She-Hulk, she doesn't want to constantly have to rip her clothes.
Hey, spandex is your best friend, Bruce.
That's what Bruce said. So. Bruce told her that. But she hasn't caught on to that yet. So Mallory kind of chastises her about her clothing. And so Nikki being ride or die, best friend, is like, we're gonna figure out how to get her some new clothes. But the thing about it, Nikki doesn't find out about this clothing designer until Pug comes in. Love Pug as a character. Pug comes in, and we get to see Pug and Nikki interact, which is something that we didn't really get to see often in the show. But Pug comes in, he's like,
Pug is a sneaker guy.
He's a sneakerhead. He's like, listen, Nikki, I need you to do me a favor. Iron Man 3 is coming out, and I'm going to go stand in line, but they're only releasing one pair to a person. So I need you to come stand in line with me so I can get another pair. And she's like, well, why do you need another pair? And he drops the greatest line that I've ever heard about sneakers. He's like, one to rock, one to stock. And I just love Pug. I love Pug. And so Nikki says, so he basically said, I got this guy. He put me on to like when they're going to be released. It's my drip broker. And so Nikki says, okay, well, you got a drip broker. We need to get Jen some new clothes because obviously she's not going to do it herself. We got to hook her up. So you hook me up with your drip broker. I'm going to stand in line with you. We're going to go cop some Iron Man 3s. So they go to this they go to this boba tea place.
That's
Uh,
right.
and so they walk in, they meet this guy. They're looking for him. He's like, I forgot what the guy's name was. He was like, "Oh, we're here to see I think it was like name was Anthony or something like that. Whatever his name was. Like, we're here to see Anthony." And so the guy's looking at him like, "Okay." He's like, "No, no, no, you don't understand. We're here." He's like, "My boy Anthony sent me." He's like, all right. So, and
It
Jen,
was
the
the
guys,
most awkward
it's the most awkward,
exchange, criminal exchange.
so awkward. And so Nikki, as versatile as Nikki is, we see Nikki's versatility. The guy is Asian, and so she assumes that he's Chinese. So she speaks in Chinese to him and says that we're not the police. And then so the guy's like, just for the record, I'm Korean, not Chinese. And so
No offense.
he brings them to the back, and they find out that he's fencing bootleg Avengers merch. He has Avengers, and then he has Avengers with an I, and it's just like so. It's like those things that you'll like see online, just different. Supposed to be mainstream media property like things, and they're just all like slightly off. Like it's supposed to be Batman, but instead of like him having bat ears, he has cat ears or something like that. And it's just one thing that's just a little bit different. So all the Avengers, the original 6 Avengers, there are all this merchandise, but they're all a little bit different.
Hey. Dun, 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 dun.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Dun, 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 dun. It's not the same, baby. Okay, you can't sue me if it's not the same. I understand.
But so you have Thor. Thor has red hair instead of blonde hair. He has a shovel instead of a hammer. You have Hawkeye, who instead of having arrows, he has an arrow with like a hawk talon on the end of it. You have Captain America, who has an eagle on his shield. His colors are different. Iron Man's colors are reversed. You have Hulk, who's purple instead of green, and he has a mustache. And then you have Black Widow, who has a scorpion on her suit instead of the Black Widow hourglass. But they're all a little bit different. So Nikki and Paul, they're like, this isn't what we want, but not before they get a hammer, they get some t-shirts, they get a shield,
you gotta get some gear.
You gotta get some merch. But they basically they told the guy, he's like, listen, this is not what we want, but we will buy some if you allow us to meet the guy. So they get introduced to Luke, who's the drip broker, and so he sort of wait, what?
Just drip eat the Chris Brown song.
But they're basically outside the door, and he's talking to him through the intercom. He's like, I don't accept walk-ins. And Nikki says that, listen, we have an Avenger who needs clothing. And so he agrees to be able to see
in? You got a name drop. I know an Avenger.
I know an Avenger.
It's one of them bug theme Avengers. One of them bug theme heroes.
That's good.
Or or Archer with a mohawk.
Right.
That's what you know.
But you got a name drop. Or demigod. But so Luke agrees to hold an appointment with them. So Nikki goes back. She brings in She-Hulk. She walks in the door. And Luke is just like, oh my God. And it's not like he's saying, oh my God, because it's like, oh, it's an Hulk. He's saying, oh my God, those clothes are atrocious. What the hell are you wearing? And so he agrees to make her some clothes. We don't get to see the outfit because it's all She-Hulk goes into the dressing room. She tries on the clothes and everything like that. But it's all like zipping up in a garment bag. She gets to take it home and everything.
Yeah, so he made there 3 outfits. One was a dress. One was a superhero costume that obviously will get the big reveal probably at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else.
I would imagine that the other one was like a suit, like a suit that you can wear.
We gotta see that in action.
Yeah.
So she has an evening gown, and then she has a suit, and then she has her super
superhero suit.
No capes.
No capes.
No,
And the dude, he looked like the male version, like the gender swap version of Edna Mode with the glasses and everything.
exactly.
And he had that same like kind of attitude, like that same presence of like command presence. Like, I am the best at what I do. I know I'm the best. That's why people come to me. So
I don't have time to.
Maybe I'll do this for you.
Exactly.
But we got to see like different outfits that he had worked on. I don't know like what they all were in reference to, because I'm sure they could be in reference to any hero in the MCU. But they were just kind of all like placed on mannequins around the room and everything. But so that's our of course that's our B storyline. So Jen gets her clothes, and then we get our post-credit scene where, or not necessarily I think it was a post-credit scene, but we get our post-credit scene where, or at least ending scene where Luke is talking to his assistant and he's walking around cleaning stuff up, and he was like, oh, why is this out? This is supposed to be put away for our client to come and pick it up. He picks up sort of like a hat box and he moves it over to a chair, and it's Daredevil's helmet.
The man without fear.
So he's
from Hell's Kitchen.
Puts the box on the chair, puts a top on the box saying for pickup. So you know that Matt Murdock is coming into She-Hulk. He's going to be in California. He's going to pick up his new suit. So we are waiting with bated breath to see Daredevil show up in the MCU. People were. And the funny thing about it was, going from episode 5 into episode 6, Jen, of course, she breaks the fourth wall and she states
I can speak Spanish now.
So she states this is going to be a self-contained wedding episode, and just like all weddings, you don't expect them, but they always come at inopportune times. And so she's basically saying to the audience, hey, I know we left off last episode, we teased Daredevil, but now we're going to have a wedding episode. You don't like it, it's coming at an opportune time, we know it, but I'm just letting you know this is going to be a wedding episode. Don't expect to see Daredevil. And so she like literally came out at the beginning of the episode and said this. Like, she's just letting the audience know. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about this show and about the way that they do these fourth wall breaks. It's like
very cleverly done.
If you have to pay attention to exactly what's going on, because they're telling you, she's breaking the fourth wall. She's telling you exactly what's going on. You know, she was in the car talking about, oh, you know, we were happy to see Wong again, but don't forget whose show this is. This is still my show. We have cameos. They have cameos every episode, but at the end of the day, this is still a She-Hulk show. So we're still going to go through the different like storylines. We're going to have that connective tissue that's going to connect She-Hulk, right? So her childhood friend, somebody that she went to high school with, Lulu, has invited Jen to a wedding. And so she, not only has she invited her to the wedding, she wants Jen to be one of the bridesmaids. So she sends her the whole box, glitter pouring out everywhere. There's the bridesmaid sash, the champagne. Was hilarious.
Nikki said, "How do you say no? How do you say no to somebody's wedding?" Nikki said, "You just say no." I thought that was like, yeah.
But so they're getting ready to go to the wedding. So Jen's getting all her stuff together. She has her dress. She shows Nikki the dress. Nikki loves it. But so they go out, and I think it's like at some kind of farmhouse or something that they go to.
Yeah.
And so so Jen's going to the wedding. So that's our A story. Our B story is we're introduced to another superpower character, Mr. Immortal, who has a case that Mallory is going to be trying or representing him in this case, because he's been married, I believe it was like 7 or 8 times, and he's gotten out of each marriage by killing himself. And
clearly not a guy that wants conflict in his life. He would rather kill himself literally before he have a conversation with you about it.
He gets into a confrontational conversation, not even an argument, just a confrontational conversation between Mallory and Nikki, kind of telling him off about how awful he is, how awful of a person he is for basically killing himself in order to get out of these marriages. And he's just like, don't like this. And he just stands up, turns around, jumps out of the window.
Like, my guy, really?
And it's like, that's the biggest move though, because how many times have you wanted to just eject yourself from a conversation? Like, I don't want to be a part of this. I would
Not
rather
that bad.
I would rather kill myself to be a part of this conversation. And he can
I'd rather
do that.
have the conversation. But again, like we said before, when you live forever, you're reckless with your life.
Right. You just, there's nothing for you to have to like be afraid of. Like, I can't die, so I just, yeet myself out this window and just not have to worry about it.
And he got up off that car and it's like, yep,
like,
this is what I do.
Fix his
now,
clothes,
interesting enough, I actually thought we were going to be done with him. I didn't know that he was actually using that as an example to show him exactly what he meant, because we come back, they're taking the case. But it was a conversation that they were having beforehand that he didn't want to be a part of, because they were really kind of looking down, like, how could you do this? You're being all kind of mansplaining, and you're afraid of confrontation. And he's like, you know what? I'm out. He jumped out the window.
Yeah.
So it made sense, and it all fit into the narrative of the story. But now you know that he's telling the truth, because just because you have the name Mr. Immortal doesn't necessarily, even though he was telling them, I'm immortal.
Right.
He's like,
but
I
now
don't
he's
die.
shown
Well,
it.
I kind of die.
Right, but you come back to life.
I don't stay there. But I die, but just for a little bit.
Right.
And it's true. He died just for a little bit and got up and went on about his day. But that's a cool power to have, I guess. I don't know. Live forever. But it's interesting how they are giving the episodic type of situations, and I do appreciate that, because again, everything shouldn't be Sky being
world ending,
life and dead stakes. Everything. One of the biggest things we talked about before, what made Avengers: Age of Ultron so good, is because we saw the Avengers when they were not avenging. Like, what are they doing when they're not fighting crime?
Hanging out, having a party.
And you got a little bit of that in this, because she's a lawyer. She's trying to do lawyer stuff. She's also trying to have a personal life and date. And what do you do when your self-confidence is low, because no one is attracted or wants to be with you, but then your alter ego gets all the attention?
Right.
It's a parallel that's the opposite of the Hulk. So it's self-loathing until, I can turn this off at any time, but I have to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde myself. And is it really truly loving myself if I have to be somebody else? There's a conflict. That's what makes this show good, because they're not scared to go there. They got that wrapped up into a lawyer show, wrapped up into a female anthem, wrapped up into how you not gonna trademark She-Hulk.
But one of the things that, of course, we didn't mention in episode 5 was that after Jen won that case, of course, Titania approaches her and says, "This isn't over." Okay.
She did say that. She said this isn't over.
So, of course, Titania has now, and I think we kind of mentioned that when we were in episode 3 and we knew that this was coming, was that that's because we kind of hypothesized or theorized like where that conflict is going to come in with Jen and Titania. And we were saying that Jen's going to win the case somehow, some way, and then Titania is going to be pissed about it. And that's where that rivalry is going to come, to where they're constantly butting heads.
I'm not saying I could write it, but I got hands. That's all I'm saying. But, if I could, it would be similar.
So Jen goes to the wedding. She shows up as She-Hulk. She's in her new dress that she got from Luke. And so she shows up. Here's
a question. If this was you, would you have showed up as She-Hulk?
Yeah, absolutely. Because honestly, I thought that the only reason, because Jen tells Nikki, like, I'm surprised that she invited me. I haven't talked to her since high school. Like, we've, gone 2 separate directions in life. And so I was under the assumption that the only reason that Lulu was inviting her to the wedding and wanted her to be a bridesmaid is because she wanted She-Hulk at her wedding. So when Jen showed up as She-Hulk, I was like, oh, well, this is exactly what Lulu wants. And of course, she walks up, the people are fawning over her, telling her how good she looks, all this other kind of stuff. Lulu approaches like, hey.
Everybody got an ass. She killed me with that one. Just like everybody got it.
But she basically told Jen, she was like, hey, I need you to turn that off. I invited Jen to be my bridesmaid. I didn't invite She-Hulk. This is my day. I'm the bride. So just be Jen, no She-Hulk. And that was surprising to me because I was like, oh, okay, somebody actually wants Jen. Like you said, she's dealing with this self-loathing. She's dealing with these personality issues because GLK&H, they want She-Hulk. She goes on a date. The only time she got a match was She-Hulk. Like Titania is wanting She-Hulk. Everybody wants She-Hulk. So when she shows up as She-Hulk, they flip it and say, no, we want Jen. And when they titled the episode, we have these different title cards. The last the episode 5, it was She-Hulk, but instead of saying Attorney at Law, it was by Titania. So you get to know that it's She-Hulk by Titania. This is going to be talking about Titania wanting She-Hulk name. This episode's title card, it said just Jen. So it's like, okay, so we're getting a more Jen-focused episode. We're not going to have as much She-Hulk in it. And honestly, a lot of the episodes, we still have been getting Jen for the most part. She's not always She-Hulk in all of her scenes, which is good. But it's also, she's not always Jen in all the scenes. So we're still getting, I feel like, a nice balance of both.
I agree 100%. It is a nice balance of both because it just is. That's it. it just is. I'm not gonna complicate it at all. It just is.
Yeah.
I need more.
But
not what you think.
But so Jen's at the wedding. Jen is basically getting mistreated by all the other bridesmaids. I don't know.
Same way too. I felt like they're giving her the short end of the stick. Like there's friends, and then there's you're just clearly taking advantage now,
right?
Because they really, really kind of gave her just the shittiest duties.
Yeah, and I mean, it's at that point, like normally bridesmaids, like especially if you have this your venue, right, and the wedding is happening, you have your venue, you have staff at the venue, they clean up, they do this, they do that, but they're like, oh, Jen, glad you're here. Can you help clean up this area? And you're like, some of the staff, they called out, so we don't have anybody to clean up. Can you clean up? The bridesmaid was like, oh, the groomsmen, like they did something and their shirts all wrinkled. Can you go and iron these shirts? It's like, that's not the duty of a bridesmaid to do something like that. But they're just kind of throwing it at her. And it's just like, even though Lulu wanted Jen to be there, we can still see how Jen, as Jen, still gets, like you said, the short end of the stick and everything. Yeah. And so she goes to the wedding. The wedding happens. And one of the things that I was wondering, because we see Jen in the bridesmaid's dress. So I don't know, because apparently normally you have the bridesmaids being asked to be bridesmaids well beyond the wedding day. This was like at the beginning of the week, the wedding is happening this weekend, right? Like the wedding is happening this weekend. Will you be my bridesmaid? But normally you have it like weeks in advance, so you're part of the planning, you're at the dress rehearsals, you're at the rehearsal dinners, you go to the dress fittings, all this other kind of stuff. So I feel like Lulu just guessed whatever Jen's measurements were, because that dress looked like it was so big on her. And it's not like she couldn't sort of equate it to any of the other bridesmaids, because there were some bridesmaids that were about her size, not necessarily too much taller than her. So you could kind of say like, oh, I know Jen's probably about this height, so we should be able to like kind of, guess at what her measurements are, or at least, if you want somebody to be a bridesmaid, like, hey, I'm going to get a dress tailored for you. What are your measurements? Like reach out to her or something. But that dress was so ill-fitting.
And cut a hole in the middle and wear it like a poncho. And that works too, Sometimes you just gotta poncho it up.
But the thing about it is that end of the episode, when she eventually has to turn into She-Hulk, and we'll get to that in a second, but when she turns into She-Hulk, now the dress fits fine. The dress looks like it was made for She-Hulk. So I don't know about that one. But so
just getting that contrast, of that luxury life versus that normal life, but you're a lawyer.
yeah. So, but even before that, before they get to the actual wedding, so I guess they were at the rehearsal dinner or whatever, Jen meets Josh. Josh comes up to her. He's super nice. He's actually interested in Jen. So they have a nice conversation. It's very pleasant. And so Jen goes to the wedding, and she's just not only dealing with the wedding, but who shows up? Titania. Titania shows up, and basically is like,
I'm here for the wedding.
Right. I'm here for the wedding. I'm here to support Lulu. Jen, you're out of your mind, because Jen is basically saying, do you not see what's going on? Jen, Titania is here. She's trying to get back at me. She hates me. She has this rivalry. And kudos to Jamila Jamil playing Titania. It's just like so dismissive of Jen. She's like, you're being really loud right now.
That part right there.
Oh, but it's so good. And it's just painting her in this light. So it's like making people think that Jen is crazy. It's like, obviously, I don't care about you. I'm here for Lulu. And so they get to the wedding. And so since nobody believes Jen is, of course, being mistreated. So she's like, I have to tolerate being here. So I'm just going to drink. And so she goes to the bar. She's drinking. She's dancing. She's enjoying herself. So she gets drunk. She goes outside to throw up because she's obviously drunk. Titania comes out and sucker punches Jen in the face.
Right in the face. Bam.
Punches her in the face.
Right. Puke on your lips. She got puke on your lips. Bam.
She comes out there. She rubs her back. She's like, there, get it all out. So when she turns around to see who's comforting her, just sucker punch right in the face.
And which, so, again, the mislead was when Jen went to the bathroom, I think in episode 2, when she had the situation and all the ladies came together and they were supportive and it was, you remember that?
Yeah.
This is the opposite of that, because right in the face, puke all over your mouth, bam! Who punches people after they puke, though?
Apparently Titania.
Damn, Titania.
But so Jen's wasted. Jen is super drunk. And so Titania is like, she's basically like, you punch me. It's like Titania's like, yeah, I hate you. Of course I'm gonna punch you. So like, turn into She-Hulk, get up so we can fight. And Jen's drunk. So she tries to turn into She-Hulk. She isn't able to. And so Titania is basically like, this isn't fun. It's like, you're pathetic this way. And, I'm not interested in fighting Jen. I want to fight She-Hulk. And so Jen shakes it off. She kind of sobers up. You kind of see, like, from her vision, she sees like multiple Titanias. And then when they all merge into the one, she's like, all right, I got it now. Turns into She-Hulk, does like an axe kick into the ground, breaks the crown under Titania. They end up fighting. And I don't like the way that this fight ended, because Titania wasn't beat. Titania slipped on ice, falls face first, busts up all her fronts, and gets embarrassed, so she leaves.
Oh, grill up, man.
Knocked out all her veneers.
Can't be fighting with your veneers all on the ground, man. You can't do that. You gotta just pick that up, take that home, put it under the pillow, so you can get some reimbursement.
Some money from the
Hey man, those veneers are expensive, man. All I'm saying is you try to get some of that back.
Oh my God.
Maybe the tooth fairy got like a little plan that she could make payments or something. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, man, this is messed up, but it was realistic because nobody trying to take a glamour shot with all your grill messed up.
Right.
She-Hulk wins again. So that will make She-Hulk what 6-0 at this point in time.
Well, I mean, I feel like at this point it's 3-0 because she beat her in a courtroom with the slow motion kick. She beat her in a court case.
Kick ever.
And so now she beat her at the wedding. So She-Hulk's undefeated right now. She's 3-0 against Titania. But so Titania leaves, Lulu comes out, and I'm thinking, oh shit, Lulu's gonna be mad because she didn't want She-Hulk at a wedding. But obviously Lulu is wasted because Lulu got one eye open. It's like, oh my gosh, She-Hulk's at my wedding. And so
forgot all about she was invited.
Right, exactly. So Lulu was gone. So that's our A story. She-Hulk beats Titania again. Our B story, going back to Mr. Immortal, we see that now Mallory and Nikki have amassed all of Mr. Immortal's exes. I think it was like 7 women and 1 guy. And they were going all through like, oh, well, he left me. I was married with him for 10 years and we have a child. I was married with him for 3 years. I had to pay for this. I had to pay for that. So they're like trying to figure out exactly how much he owes to all of these different people. And so at a certain point when he's being barraged with all of this aggression from all of his exes, he tries to get up to leave and Mallory's like, nope, you're staying here.
About to hit this window real quick and just hit that swan dive. Just sit down.
Like, no, you're not getting out of this that easily.
Not getting out of this one.
And so Mallory is like, okay, so they figure out a total. It was like, all right, so this is the total amount that you owe, or this is the total amount that you have to your name, and you're going to divide it up equally amongst all your exes. And they say, okay, well, hold up. I was married with him for 10 years. We have a kid. She was only married with him for 3. Why is it that she's getting the same amount that I'm getting? So they start arguing, and Mallory was like, I don't know how we're going to handle this. Nikki, again, Nikki is so awesome. I love Nikki. Nikki steps in and is like, all right, look, this is how we're going to do this. Nikki gets on the table. She sits cross-legged. She's like, we're going to figure this out. All right, you were married with him for how long? This is what you paid. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. There was one woman, all she wanted was like 15 seconds of uninterrupted eye contact. And then so Mr. Immortal protested to that. And so she was like, you know what? Whatever. Now it's 20 seconds of uninterrupted eye contact. Meaningful eye contact. It's like that's all she wanted. And so Nikki like literally just kind of figured it all out, and she was like, boom, I got this. And so everybody was satisfied, so they settled it. But one of the things that they sort of talked about while they were trying to figure out everything that was going on with the exes, they were like, one of the ex-wives was like, oh, I read this on the Intelligentsia website. And so they brought up the Intelligentsia. I was like, well, what is Intelligentsia? So Intelligentsia is sort of like this 4chan Reddit type of website, sort of talking about superpowered beings and all this other kind of stuff. And so we see that Nikki writes it down. And so after they get it all settled up, and they go onto this Intelligentsia website, and we see that it's just like all this She-Hulk hate. She-Hulk is dumb. And one of them was like literally like, when you a Hulk, but still dumb. And it was just a picture of She-Hulk with like red X's on her face. It was like, it's so, they're like, the writers of this show are so in tune of the internet culture and how people will react to a female protagonist, because they talked about it when She-Hulk was like first introduced and they were going through like all the social media stuff. It was like people talking bad about She-Hulk, like She-Hulk, like why do we have to have a woman Hulk? Why can't we just have a regular male Hulk?
Not my Hulk.
Right. Hashtag not my Hulk.
Hashtag not my Hulk. One thing about it, I know for certain 2 things for sure, not my Hulk, but I'm gonna watch though. They'll be the main one.
Exactly. They sit there, talk all kind of trash about it, but still watch every week. And so this whole Intelligentsia website is all devoted to bad mouthing She-Hulk. So Nikki creates a profile, and of course she says that, oh, She-Hulk is dumb. You just basically badmouth She-Hulk in order to be able to gain access to the website. And it says that your profile is going to be reviewed by I think it was Hulk King, and the person, they have to review your profile in order for you to gain access to the website. So we see that they get approved, so they're into the intelligentsia, so they can see all of this stuff about She-Hulk. And then we transition over to this lab where the Hulk King, instant message pops up, and it says basically like the next phase is ready, or is the next phase ready, something of that nature. And we see these scientists walking around. They have Jennifer's profile on the computer screen. They have like her blood levels, her gamma levels, all this other kind of stuff. And they have the needle that the Wrecking Crew tried to inject She-Hulk with, and it's all bent up. So they put that needle down, and they come back with this huge needle, and they put it on the syringe. They put it in the case. They close the case. There's the biohazard symbol on it. So apparently, whoever is running the intelligentsia website is part of this whole conspiracy to try to get She-Hulk's blood. And that is the end of episode 6.
She-Hulk, attorney at law, baby. You know what it is, Disney.
They're on top of it. And I love this I love this show because, like you said, it's episodic in the sense that we're getting, not like you said, not the big sky beams, not the end of the world, not the big bad. We don't have that conflict. We have internal conflict. We have villains of the week. You know, I have to deal with, dealing with me accepting myself as who I am. You know, sometimes I might get jumped by the Wrecking Crew. I have to deal with Titania. You know, I have to deal with legal battles. You know, like when she was representing Blonsky, there was no conflict, but the conflict was she has to figure out how she's going to get over her personal conflictions and representing someone who tried to kill her cousin, and so she's dealing with that. And so she dealt with that and tried to and represented Blonsky to, like you said, the best of her legal ability. And so we don't have.
Okay. She's way better than Daredevil, so it's okay. She can use the best of her legal abilities in her sleep and be better than Daredevil.
But so she, so we get the weekly episodes that are self-contained, but then they still, again, have that connective tissue to your overarching storyline, because even back all the way in the beginning, we see that Bruce destroyed her blood. Like at the beginning, the first episode, he destroyed her blood. It's like, we don't want this getting into the wrong hands. So obviously we know that there is a threat somewhere out there that Bruce is aware of, and he wants to make sure that Jen is protected. So she's been attacked by the Wrecking Crew to try to get her blood. Obviously, there are other factors at play where, if you're watching this, you think, we saw, what was the guy's, and I forget the guy's name already, that she went on a date with, Todd. Todd was asking her about, well, what are your powers? What are your weaknesses? It's like, is your skin really impenetrable? Todd was trying to get all this kind of information out of her. Like, is your skin really impenetrable? And she's like, it's impenetrable to anything at least made on Earth. And he was like, well, what about vibranium? And and Jen's not thinking anything of it. She was like, she thinks he's just a fan. And she's like, well, I don't know, you have vibranium on you? And he was like, I wish. And he was like, you're such a specimen. Like, he really wants to examine her. Like, he wants to dissect her and see what she's made of. And then we see her go on a date. It's like, okay, Todd is obviously interested in more than just being in a relationship with her, just dating her. And so, is Todd the Hulk King? Is Todd running the intelligentsia website? Is there someone else at play? There's been theories going around that the leader is running the intelligentsia. We've heard that the leader is rumored to be the villain in the new Captain America movie. So are we going to be introduced to the leader here, and then it's going to show up in Captain America New World Order? Is it going to be somebody different? Intelligentsia has a bunch of all of the greatest geniuses from the Marvel universe. So you have Doctor Doom and the Intelligentsia, you have the leader, you have all these different people who were a part of the Intelligentsia at some point. And so having it be
I just want you to
introduced.
know that I went over there and put my name in that area too. It's written in crayon, but it's over there.
It's in there.
So
it's in there.
that's all that the requirement was, that it was in there. And my R's are backwards and my E's are
Oh my God.
numbers.
But it's just leading into speculation as to, because they took a modern spin on just having the Intelligentsia be a group of the smartest villains, and now they've made it into a website. Because the thing about the Intelligentsia was that they was the world's smartest villains, and they were dedicated to amassing all the intelligence. And how better in modern times to amass intelligence by having a website, which is basically an open forum where you can get information, because obviously you're going to have, just like 4chan, just like Reddit, people are going to hypothesize and theorize about what and the abilities of She-Hulk, what the abilities of different Avengers are. So you can take that and you can basically base your scientific studies off of all of these things that people are getting, because in the noise of the internet, you're going to be posts and people that are giving information that's factual. Somehow, some way, they're going to be able to uncover exactly what makes She-Hulk tick, and the Intelligentsia will be able to amass that information. Like, we see this huge needle now, so maybe this needle can penetrate She-Hulk's skin.
That
We don't know.
like a goddamn javelin. That looked like you about to pole vault right into the next multiverse. God damn, that was a long needle.
Yeah. So I don't know, but those are the two episodes, episode 5 and 6. So, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, what do you think about those episode 5 and 6 of She-Hulk?
She-Hulk is already super. We already know that already, and that's something you should be watching if you're not watching it already. If you're watching us, we appreciate you watching us, but you should be watching more of us. So hit that subscribe button and that like button, and let's get that going on. But as far as She-Hulk, come on, man. Those guys that you were talking about earlier, the ones that don't like the show, clearly are there watching something else. I can't see them watching this. It's something for everyone in the show.
Yeah.
So sit back, get your girl or your guy or your guy or your girl, get you some popcorn, get you a little side of Raisinets or something, this little chocolatey, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, because it's not a typical Marvel situation, property adjacent, a junction of the adjoining Marvel properties. It's something different. It's funny. It's cool. It's lighthearted. And just every now and then we got some things that we can nitpick about, but we'll let the haters nitpick about those things. Overall, is it super? Goddamn right it is. Watch She-Hulk.
No, I agree 100%. It's super. I am loving this show. We are getting into the last few episodes, because again, we have 9 episodes of She-Hulk.
Where's the She-Hulk sequel announcement? For Loki, they gave us like 2 episodes of like Loki season 2 coming out. Like, damn, they confident in this one. It wasn't even over with yet, and you knew a season 2 was coming. Right. Where's this announcement for She-Hulk? And dare I say, what?
I mean, I feel like there hasn't been much of an announcement outside of Loki, because WandaVision, of course, has not been announced for a sequel. We saw Wanda in Multiverse of Madness.
You need a vision for Wanda.
Well, I mean, we have a vision. It's a white vision, but we have a vision. Vision's still out there somewhere.
That's so racist. I don't even know why the show is going so well, and then this comes out of nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Spider's comments do not reflect the comments of all things. Actually, they do. The whole show is about these comments. So,
but no, Vision's still out there, but there's been no announcement for a season 2. Miss Marvel.
Is he all white because he's a blank slate?
Possible. Well, I mean, he started off as a blank slate, but I mean, Hayward kind of programmed him,
To
kind
absorb
of.
memory.
I don't know, but no, Vision. Vision kind of talked to him and tried to like get him to understand, like, you're me, but you're not me. You are a part of me, but you're not really me because you're my old body, but you're somebody entirely different. And so, like, this whole existential crisis type thing, but but who knows? He's gonna show up again. We don't know
Where
exactly where, don't know exactly
is he
when, but
gonna
he's
have?
going to
Gonna put the
come
Young
back.
Avengers together?
Maybe. Maybe come back to the Young Avengers. Maybe comes back in Secret Wars. I don't know.
Vision.
But yeah, but it's, as far as season 2, most of the Disney Plus shows have not been announced for season 2 outside of Loki. So will there be a season 2 of She-Hulk? I don't know.
I don't know, but they could have kept Echo and gave me a season 2 of She-Hulk, and Echo's not even out yet. So,
well, we'll see. They might announce it at the end of the season. We'll see how it goes. But no, it's absolutely, I love it. Like you said, we have little things that we nitpick about it, but like you said,
yeah.
the critics of the show, and it seems like these same type of people who just every time a show comes out, I have not, for the most part, and it's the same people, and I do not see them.
That's Craig and them. It's Craig and them, huh? You said the same people. I know it's Craig and them. Craig and that She-Hulk is a girl, and girls aren't green.
But the thing about it is like, I can understand if you have a valid critique of the show. If you think that something was, continuity errors, if you say something, okay, well, this doesn't make sense to me in the story. Like, why is the Hulk, doing this? I feel like they're doing.
That's what we do. We TSA. We see something, we say something.
Right.
TSA, baby.
We have the same initials in
there you go. ATS, there you
TSA.
Go. Now got that blue.
But like I've seen some critiques that were saying, like, I'm not a fan of the show because I feel like it should be a She-Hulk show, because every episode there's a cameo or introduces another hero or another villain or something like that. But to that, I say I still feel like it's a She-Hulk show because it's a procedural law sitcom, and to have a law sitcom, you have to have people to represent. So you can't have a superhero law division if you don't have other heroes coming into the fray to represent them. It's like, do you want to have other no-name superheroes that we don't know about coming into the show every week? It's like, oh, well, who is this? Why do I care about him? Or would you rather have already established characters like Wong, like Bruce, showing up into the show to where they can sort of be a part of Jen's life? Because they are part of Jen's life at this point. And so it's not necessarily taking the attention away from Jen, but it's sort of driving her story along.
I think that's exactly what the deal is. Kevin Feige, the genius that he is into his let's introduce character stage. And this is another way to introduce this character, because the Meg the Stallion episode, we got introduced to the elf, the shape-shifting elf.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere in the MCU have we talked about elves before.
Well, this is the Thor: The Dark World. She was a light. She was a light elf. They were dark elves.
They were dark elves. But, so besides Thor: The Dark World is the only other reference we got from elves.
Right.
And now we have a light elf that can shapeshift. Now we also have Skrulls that can shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a Skrull versus elf type of Asgard versus? There's Skrulls out here, and that's all I'm trying to get you guys out of. Who's going to be a Skrull?
Everybody's a Skrull.
Oh my goodness! I can't say that, you're scaring people.
But it's going to be revealed, and I know that I know that Secret Invasion is coming, and it's going to be revealed.
Not really a secret, is it?
No, it's not. Everybody knows it's coming. But I'm very pensive about that show coming out, because it's going to reveal certain people have been Skrulls this whole time. And I know the internet is just going to lose their minds.
Yeah, my scroll.
And it's just going to be chaos because the next thing that they're going to do is start dissecting every appearance of that character. So let's say, for example, if they find out that Wong is a Skrull, then they're going to be like, the transition between Doctor Strange and then seeing Wong in Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War. Like, where was the transition? Because Wong was like so stoic and he was kind of very standoffish when he first met Doctor Strange. Like, he was very very meticulous, very by the book, very structured. And now we have Wong who,
have cage fights
with
criminals,
with Abomination, breaking Abomination out of prison,
and running from the law.
Binge, in Carmitage, binge watching Sopranos and This Is Us, and it's just like very sort of uncharacteristic from the Wong that we were introduced to in the first Doctor Strange. So is it a Skrull? Did Wong get replaced at some point? And then for the people who have been either replaced by Skrulls or they've been Skrulls this whole time, where are the originals? Because you can't copy a person unless you've seen that person first. So where are the original? If there are multiple people in the MCU that are Skrulls, where are the original people? Are they on the spaceship where Samuel L. Jackson was, where Nick Fury was? Are that where they keep all the original people and have the Skrulls like infiltrate different, like, as shield agents or as different people and like superpowered people?
It's definitely high government ranking officials, government officials, because it's about the New World Order and overthrowing the establishing order. And hopefully, me saying that don't get us demonetized right there, because it's all about all things super, baby. We're talking about She-Hulk, and she is attorney at law. Watch it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
In fact, get you some juice to go along with your popcorn and your candy.
Popcorn and juice.
Well, there's a snack, so control yourself.
But let us know what you thought about episode 5 and episode 6 of She-Hulk. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode as well. But remember, if you like this video, go ahead, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, select the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that are coming out. If you want to join in on the conversation, again, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. And if you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on all your major podcast streaming platforms. But She-Hulk, absolutely super. Love the show. It's absolutely great.
Hey, Spider, you think somebody that don't have a hand can get gloves at half price?
No.
But if they don't have any fingers?
Because
they're not using a whole glove. I'm just saying they can keep that little nub warm.
Yeah, but I don't think you can. You know how, like, if you have a box of ramen and then you open it up and you the packages that say not for individuals resale. I think that's the way that gloves work. You can't buy a single glove.
Clearly, we're not all rich enough to even buy ramen to know this story. See y'all next time.
See you in the next episode.